Bronny James, after the draft combine, has just done an interview with the Los Angeles Lakers, lads. It's looking like Bronny is going to be drafted. And look, I've made plenty of videos on what he's done. I've talked myself into him being worthy of a draft selection. And I think in general in 2024 probably is worth taking a risk. Like, this is one of those years where you could just draft someone absolutely like random. Like, how many guys are going to be drafted and never play an NBA game? I reckon 15 plus. And I think Bronny James is not going to be one of them. As I've always said, like, Bronny James, I think there's going to be better players than him not drafted, but he's also not going to be the worst player drafted. And it's looking like if he's there at 55, the Lakers are guaranteed to take him, as I said a few days ago. So that's basically what Woj has been saying, is that like teams are interested in taking him, teams want to work him out. But you're even hearing about the Pelicans wanting to work him out, like as high as, I think, is it 32 they have, but it's like a high second round pick. He's not going to be a first round pick. If someone takes him in a first round pick, it's realistically to try get LeBron. He's not worth a first round pick. He's not. Like, he's genuinely not worth a first round pick. Nor is he probably worth an early second round pick. But that pick for the Lakers, I don't think he's on the board for them. I really don't. Like, I genuinely do not think the Bronny James is going to be on the board for the Los Angeles Lakers at 55. I think that he's actually showing a lot of transferable skills. And there's a difference between showing ability and transferable ability. As I've said in other videos, and there was actually a really good comment that I saw, and they were like, Bronny James is incredible at being average. As in, like, he is great at looking fine at whatever level he plays at. Whereas some of these guys that have been superstars their whole lives never adapt. Bronny doesn't have to adapt. And there's a lot to be said for that. And I actually think there are a lot of guys in college that could have been NBA players, but never got the chance because they didn't put up good enough college numbers, and teams didn't want to take them, but they might have been more NBA ready, and they might have been more ready to play specific roles had teams taken them. But obviously their names weren't Bronny James. I do think it might, if Bronny James does come in and is a bit of a success, it might change the way people look at draft prospects in general. That maybe they're not going to look at what you did in college. They're going to look at what you potentially could do in the NBA. Like, even, for example, like a Derek Lively was terrible in college. He's been brilliant in the NBA because he fit a role much better for Dallas than he did for Duke. And might be able to see that with Bronny James. Like, going back to college would be the dumbest thing that Bronny James could do because of what people want to see. If he's going back to college, why? Like, it makes no sense. Because so he can develop. Then why are people calling Ben Simmons a fake rookie? Redshirting a year in the NBA is better for your development than spending a year in college, especially when you're a player of the mold of Bronny James. The only thing is that, like, people, if he stayed another year in college, would expect him to average 60 and 70 in a game, which he'll never do. Bronny James could not average 15 points a game at the D1 level. He couldn't. But that doesn't matter. Ironically enough, that doesn't matter at all. What matters is the transferable skills. And Bronny James does have quite a few transferable skills, which mean that it is still a risk taking him because the high-end talent level may not be there, but it's equally as much a risk of taking for example, like last year, an Amani Bates. Amani Bates had skill, but no transferable skill. Like, he was a flat-out scorer, but he was inefficient. He had a negative wingspan, played no defense, but was supremely skilled, supremely talented. However, there was no transferable skill between Amani Bates and what he did in college and what he was going to do in the NBA, because he was not going to come into the NBA as a scorer, and he did nothing else. He does literally nothing else well other than score. Whereas Bronny James is the opposite. Bronny James doesn't have the talent level, the ability level of Amani Bates. However, all of his skills are transferable. It's just whether or not that talent gap is too big. So, yeah, like, he's been interviewed by LA. He's going to be working out for teams. And the draft combine showed that he's still, like, even with guys, like, there's going to be quite a lot of guys that get drafted from that combine. Like, obviously in the scrimmages, you're not seeing the high-end talent. But he was good. He looked no different against those guys than he did in college. He looked no difference against those guys than he did in high school. When he played in the All-American game, people said he shouldn't have been an All-American, but he was good in the game. Like, whether or not he should have been an All-American is, like, to be seen, but he was good in the game. Like, Bronny James, This is probably how I would describe him. He is going to be the 4th or 5th best player on the floor at all times, but there's a chance that he is better than your 5th best player, which might sound ridiculous, but it makes perfect sense. If he might be the best 5th option in the league. No, he won't be the best 5th option in the league. There's obviously they're better. And I've heard people comparing him to Eric Bledsoe. No, he's not going to be Eric Bledsoe. He's going to be in. If Bronny averages more than double digits in the league ever, I'll be shocked. But what he is gonna come in as is a high IQ, decent defender who can shoot the ball a little bit and is strong. Like, that's what you're getting. He doesn't have the most point guard skills. He's not going to be able to run the offense. He's not going to be out here cooking at people. But what he's going to do is he's going to give you solid minutes no matter what, as long as the talent discrepancy is not too big. As I've said, that is the biggest question, is that there are so many really high IQ players that the talent level is too big. But a lot of the time with that gap is there's an athleticism gap, but there's no athleticism gap there for LeBron James. He's an NBA level athlete. Like, not an elite athlete at the NBA level, but he is NBA athletic. He's 210, he's strong, he's big. And while he's never going to be LeBron, he's never going to be an all-star. He's never going to be an all-star. Bronny James is someone that I would take a risk on with a second round pick. I would take a risk on him. If anything, for his name, screw it. Like, a lot of people are saying, oh, it's nepotism. Like, he is closer to being an NBA level player than Costa Antetokounmpo ever was. He is. Like, is he as good as Antetokounmpo? No. But Costa Antetokounmpo, he is more ready to be an NBA player now than Costa Antetokounmpo was when he was drafted in 2018. He is more ready to be an NBA player now than Georges Papagiannis was when he was taken freaking 13th or something in 2016. I'm just thinking of guys at the top of my head that I've seen play. He's more NBA ready now than Emoni Bates. He's definitely more NBA ready now than Emoni Bates. He's more NBA ready now than some of these project players that you see taken like late first round. That's just a matter of fact that like he has the advantage of not having to like change his game at the next level, which is actually a big advantage because teams have to teach him how to play basketball again. But yeah, the Lakers interviewing him is huge. It's huge. And it's looking like, reported by Woj and stuff, he's not falling below 55 in this draft. And I can see him being taken for that. I don't think he's there for the Lakers pick. I think a team might, chance it and be like, look, we're going to take Bronny at 40. Give us somebody and your second and your 55 pick. Or give us somebody for him. They might do that. I don't think he falls to 55. I really don't. I could be wrong, but I just don't think he falls to 55. I think he's shown enough. He's shown enough in his career to show that he's smart. He can shoot the ball a little bit and he can play defense. 3 skills to translate well. As well as that, his name is LeBron James Jr., which without question adds to his draft stock.